fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Drivers, start your engines!
Michael Conti comes up at a corner number 4 in the checkered flag. He wins his first NASCAR iRacing.
Take your hobby to the next level with a quality racing rig that works great with a PS3, Xbox 360, and a PC. GT Omega Racing Simulator is compatible with a wide range of steering wheels including Logitech, Fanatec, Thrustmaster, and more. The GT Omega is available now worldwide by going to www.gtomegaracing.com.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to ARL TV's coverage of the iRacing Grand Prix Series. This is week 11, the penultimate round of season 1 of 2013, and we are at the Spa-Francorchamps. Obviously, a great favourite for the drivers, so we're all looking forward to the race here. My name's Lee Thompson. With me tonight, I've got Dean Prescott. Evening, Dean.
Good evening, Lee.
Right, session is up, guys. We're going to be running this race in about 2.5 minutes after the race. We should be finishing about 10 to 8, something like that. We're also going to be conducting a GT Omega Racing prize draw as well for the end of season prizes for the ARL and also for the GP260 series that we've been running this season as well. So you need to hang around for that at the end of the stream. Right, let's have a little look then and see who we've got on the grid for our strength of field race. So, good full grid, 22 cars on the grid tonight. We have, first of all, the overall pole position for the week, Rocco Barone. He's got a 1 minute 47.3. He's got the overall pole for the week. We have Yuhei Abe in second. We have the first of our World Championship drivers, Marty Patella, in third. They completed their race yesterday at Road America, I believe. In fourth, we have Ricardo Castrolado. In fifth, we have Ollie Picala. That's probably the furthest down on the grid we've seen Ollie for a good few weeks. In 6th, we've got Antoine Higelin. 7th, Isaac Price, winner from last week's Strength of Field race. 8th, we've got Timo Irvinin, again, another World Championship driver. 9th, we have Yavio Soto. 10th, Fabio Di Carmo. 11th, Jan Zlowski. 12th, Eunice Nukarainen. 13th, Jorge Montanez. Sorry, tongue isn't quite fixed in properly today. 14th is Johnny Hagner. 15th is Ziperian Briscoru. 16th is Anthony Kopek, 17th is Mark Ursel, 18th Paolo Curso, 19th is Paul Nelson, and we've got 3 runners then who haven't put in a qualifying time, so another World Championship driver in Marcus Caton. In 20th, 21st we've got Ariel Eduardo Bernardi, and in 22nd we have Arlene Vestrum. So that's our grid for today. Hopefully caught all of that through my slight stumbles for tonight.
Yeah, it does look like a rather interesting grid. I've got some faces that aren't shown in there, some of the regulars into this series. Alex Simpson springs to mind and a few others. But with some of the pro guys in here as well, I know they raced a few weeks ago around Spa, so The setup should be fine.
Exactly. That's that's we were expecting a few in. I was expecting maybe a couple more. So we've got what 3 in the grid today. But as you said, they've all got their setups lined up, ready to go, and it's just going to be a nice opportunity for them to relax, perhaps after the stress that they had of yesterday. I believe it was win again for Gregor Hooter, I believe, yesterday. So it looks like it's going to be a real great battle between Gregor and Huey Louis for the championship again in the World Championship Series this year. Right, so last couple of seconds of warm-up. We're going to be getting ready to grid up any moment. I'm just praying, Dean, for a nice clean first lap so that then we can have an exciting race for the remainder 24 laps.
Yeah, hopefully no turn 1 incidents. And then again, maybe everyone can make it through Rouge, okay?
Yeah, hopefully a Rouge will be fine, and in the next big moment, and we'll be going into turn 5 Lake Home. Yeah, so if we can get through turn 1 and turn 5, then we're going to have a great race ahead of us, hopefully. Right, so the cars are lining up on the circuit at the minute, getting ready for the last few people to join.
Yeah, so everyone seems to be joining rather quickly. I want to get this underway. It's a very long grid. I can see guys right at the back just thinking, will I make it through turn 1?
Should just be 10 seconds now event until the green lights are going to be coming on.
I guess drives the building. Green, 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 we're away.
And we're away, yeah, absolutely. So it looks like a good start from the first couple of roads, spread out already in the background. Let's get a nice clean run into the corner. A little bit of blinking going on as well. Oh, we've got a little bit of action in the midfield, but the lead, what, 10 cars or so, look like they managed to get through there.
Oh, like Fabio actually, that one got caught up in that. It was.
So Roccaberone's already under pressure from Juhai Arbe, so he's had to go defensive. Roccaberone heading towards Lacombe. Juhai Arbe's got great speed down that straight. He's already in front. Roccaberone's going to have to slot him behind, going to Lacombe.
We've also lost Javier Soto.
Yeah, and all kinds of action in the background as well. So Ricardo Castroledo made a place. Isaac Price battling away with Martin Patella as well. So looks like, as I said, they all managed to get cleanly through Lacombe as well there.
Just having a quick look back at who that was. We were 5 wide actually going into turn 1.
And I think, who do we just have running wide there? I think it was Juha Arbe just running wide out of the fast left-hander before they get to Pujon there. He had to really slow down a lot, keep it under control. So he dropped a good couple of places there. Yeah, it was indeed Juha Arbe.
It looks like Oli Bacala was caught up in the first turn accident as well, sorry. Just catching up with that one finally.
Thank you. So that was a real shame of Juha Arbe because he made that position into Lacombe, napping in front of Roccaberone, and already he made an error going from there. So Roccaberone now streaking ahead after that, little bit of a break behind him. Then we've got Ricardo Castellano. He's had a great start to race. So he's up into second now, with Timo even in third. Juha Arbe got Isaac Price coming inside of him into the bus stop there, just about manages to hold on with Marty Patella, Van Antoine Higlin, Judas Nikarinin, Johnny Hagner, Jan Zalowski, and Jorge Montanez behind.
Marty Patella looking around the outside, coming into turn 1.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to make it stick around the outside of Isaac Price. He's going to get a much better exit coming out the corner. Isaac Price covers him off well though, so let's see if he can get a good drag going up through Eau Rouge. And Antoine Higlin slotting in there as well, looking to take advantage of any little battling between Marty Patella and Isaac Price. Antoine Higlin is looking closer, in fact. Antoine moves to the left quite early, and having to stay defensive as well. There is Isaac Price. Marty Patella tries to hang around the outside into Lacombe, but Isaac again managed to hold it on. Everyone just had to check up a little bit behind there. That could have turned out a little bit nasty at the end there. The front 4 cars now really managing to break away, with Isaac Price just causing a little bit of a bottleneck behind.
This does bring Eunice into the battle of these 4 guys. Antoine just dropping back a little bit, obviously, because of the checking up.
Yeah, and I mean, that little train of cars runs all the way back to P13, so from P5 to P13, everybody's really lined up very, very closely with, as I said, Isaac Price, the little bottle stop at the minute in the front of that train.
Yeah, it's actually Marcus all right on the back of this. He'll just be sitting at the back just watching all this. Got Marcus Caton in front of him. One of the pro guys.
Timu Evening's now going to be under pressure for P2. He's going to have Riccardo Castelletto closing up the back of him now, coming into the bus stop. You've got a poor exit coming onto this back straight. So is he going to go defensive? Yeah, he's thanks to the centre of the track to start with. Riccardo Castelletto looks to go up the inside, gives them space, is Evening. But now Riccardo Castelletto is going to be under pressure from Yuha Abe, going to get a much better exit coming out of the bus stop. But he does just get a little bit of a wiggle and action behind as well, with Isaac Price again just about managing to hold on from Marty Patella. This is what I wanted, a good clean first lap, so we're going to have these battles hopefully now all through the race. I can't see why not.
Now this four car battle's turned into a 5. We've got Jan Maslowski catching up to the back of these guys.
Rocco Barone already 3 seconds off into the lead, scampering away with everyone else behind, busy holding themselves up as they battle. Riccardo Castelletto looking to go up the inside of Timu Even. Looks like he's going to get move stick this time into Lecombe. Riccardo Castelletto makes that place, but just runs a little bit deep on the brakes. Timu Even is going to get back up the inside of him now, coming down into the hairpin. So that was a shame for Riccardo. He had that move done, but he just misjudged his braking a little bit and had to hang on to the outside of the circuit.
Oh, just further back, sorry. Got Jorg, Martinez, Montenane, sorry, Marcus Caton. The 3 wide coming down Camel Straight, but not sure who was in the middle. Jonny Hagler, actually, he had a little bit of a moment coming out, and he's let both Marcus through. That's Marcus up into P11.
So this battling now between Evening and Castelletto has really drawn those 3 cars right back into the clutches of Isaac Price. I was saying a minute ago that Isaac Price was a bottleneck, but not anymore. Riccardo Castelletto all over the back of Timu Evening, already alongside as they come into the bus stop. He's going to have the outside line coming all to the bus stop. Does Evening hang on the outside? Oh, he loses a rear! Oh, big carnage now between Castelletto and Evening. Is anyone else going to get collected? Looks like everybody else just about hangs by. One car in the background takes to the grass. That was a real shame there, Evening trying to hang around the outside on that completely flat corner before they get to the bus stop. And as soon as you get up onto the curb there, the rear wheels just lose contact with the ground, and that's it. So that is Evening and Castelletto out of the race. That's a real shame. That was shaping up to be a great battle there all the way through.
Yeah, unfortunately I missed that one. I did see the cars flipping here, there and everywhere, as I was just following Isaac Price. It'll be interesting to see what would happen between those 2 guys.
Right, so after 4 laps then, Rocco Barone in the lead, streaking away. He's 5 seconds plus in the lead now. Yuhei Abe's inherited that 2nd position with Isaac Price now in 3rd, with Marty Patella still close behind in 4th, looking to push past at every opportunity. Anton Higelin a little bit further back now in 5th, with Eunice Nickerin in 6th, Jan Zalowski 7th, Jorge Montanez in 8th, Marcus Caton in 9th, and Mark Ursel rounding out the top 10. Though he has got Arlene Vestrom close behind, looking to get into that final position. So that was a shame we had that little incident there between Evening and Castelletto. I haven't been able to see if there was any little bit of a contact coming through that corner. I don't think there was. I think it was just him running out a little bit wide. It's tough to hang on to that outside line. Seems like they're both happy with it in spectator chat. There's no complaints from either driver, it seems.
Well, that does give Rocco a lot of breathing space, even though he was still pulling away from the guys, but got an even bigger gap now. It has promoted Yuhu Abe up into 2nd.
Yeah, and Isaac Price has done well to hold off from the pressure from Marty Patella, so he was really very close behind in the first couple of laps, but it's just settled down a little bit now. Isaac Price just needs to get into a rhythm and keep chasing that green car in front of him, Yuhei Abe, and see if how long he can hold on for.
So there's little battles here and there, but everyone seems to be starting to string out a little bit now. Is this kind of what you expected, or...?
Yeah, I mean, Marty Patella's closed again now on Isaac Price, heading down towards Lacombe. He might have a little bit of a sniff up the inside, but he thinks better of it to stay safe for now. But yeah, I mean, the cars are going to string out at times, but I'm expecting it to ebb and flow as we go through the race, really. You know, it's very, very easy just to get little off tracks here and there, and to lose a second or two. And if you just one car can get back in the draft of somebody else, then all of a sudden we can have some good little groupings going on. That's what we're seeing here at the minute between Arbe, Isaac Price, and Marty Patella. You know, they're just hanging together, keeping in each other's draft, and we should see a little bit of action as we continue through the race. I mean, Anton Higlin not that much further behind, with Eunice Nikarinen comfortably in his tow as well. So you know, I think we're going to see a good fun race. So really, the main action is in this top 6 positions. You know, that's where the main groupings are going to be at the minute, which I'm quite happy with. You know, the lead cars that we're going to be watching.
Yeah, Marty just had a bit of a squirrely moment there. He's dropped off a little bit, but knowing Marty, he'll pick that up straight away. In fact, he does straight on the braking. He's right up close again.
Yeah, it's, you know, tough braking, you know, into these heavy braking zones. So into turn 1 there, into La Source, into the bus stop at the end of the lap. You know, it's so difficult to try and modulate the brake pedal and make sure that you're committed and as late as you can be, but not to misjudge it and say just one little error, and you know, you're losing positions hand over fist. I mean, all of these drivers have got to know this circuit like the back of a hand. You know, this is you know, probably every driver on the circuit would name this as one of their favourite circuits, if not the favourite. They've all done hundreds and hundreds of laps, I would have thought, over their seasons that they've run in either this car or previous ones. And you know, you would think that perhaps would create less opportunities for mistakes, but it's so easy to get these off tracks on here. Just as you run a little bit wide on an outside, or just get a caught on a curve on an inside, and yeah, it still creates that spicy and varied racing.
Yeah, just having a quick flick through the field. Maybe a little bit of a battle right at the back. P14-15 with Paul Milson in 15th. Chasing down Anthony Kapak. So that seems to be the only little battle, apart from the one towards the front.
Yeah, I mean, we have lost a fair chunk of drivers now, haven't we? With the instance that we had in the back of the field in turn 1, and that incident with Castroledo and Evening. So yeah, we've had Castroledo evening out. We have Ariel Eduardo Bernardi out, Cyprian Brascoro, Fabio Di Carmo, and Javier Soto. So yeah, that leaves us with 16 runners, with Oli Picala right at the very back of that, a long way back, with damage from that first lap incident as well. So we've got 15 cars within 30 seconds of each other. I'm expecting we should get some more battles develop as Marty Patella just tries to close a little bit again on the back of Isaac Price as they go into Les Sources.
Yeah, and these guys are now dropping Antoine Higlin. I think we'll be happy sitting in 5th for the time being. With his fingers crossed, maybe something unfolds just ahead of him so he can pick up another position or two. You see Marty looking to the outside and then switches back to the inside.
Oh, and Isaac Price just about manages to hang around the outside. It looks like Marty Patella's going to have the inside for the next corner as well, though. And during that time, that's allowed Arbe just to streak away. Isaac Price still hanging around the outside as they come into the hairpin there. Is he going to be able to take that outside line all the way through? Just manages to cut across the nose of Marty Patella and hangs on to that position again. So they were right on the very bumper of Arbe as they went into Lacombe, and they've lost all of that time as they've squabbled and battled and not gotten anywhere. Isaac Price is still where he was, and as is Marty Patella.
Some great respect by the two drivers though, giving each other plenty of room. Marty just seems to have a little bit of maybe front downforce problem. He's not got as much grip and he can't carry as much speed through the corner as Isaac can, but he's definitely got the speed down the back straight. And Just as I said before, it does look like there was a little battle between Paul Nelson and Anthony Kapak as Paul Nelson's got through. That's Paul now up into P14, the Australian driver.
Yeah, and I thought Marty Patella was going to be shaping up quite nicely to get a good run up Eau Rouge here, but he just dropped back a little bit coming out of turn 1 out of La Source, so we'll see how much he manages to gain in the draft. Isaac Price is maybe just going to get a whisper of draft from Yuhei Abe in front, but he's a little way ahead. So Marty Patella's gaining, coming down. Isaac Price doesn't go defensive. Marty Patella gets the inside line as they come into Lake Coombe. Already in front, Isaac Price is going to have to give up quite early this time. And as long as Marty Patella gets his braking right, he has quite comfortably through the corner. That's finally that position gain from Marty Patella. That took us all of 8 laps for him to get from P3 into from P4 even into P3. Let's see now if he can chase after Yuhei Abe and maybe drag Isaac Price back up with him.
Yeah, it just looked like Isaac had a bit of a strange Eau Rouge. He just didn't seem to have the speed coming out of it that Marty did.
Yeah, I mean it is easy. I mean it's it's a great corner of course, Eau Rouge, but there's not really much technically going on anymore for the F1 cars. But nonetheless, if you don't get the line quite right at the bottom, then you really are going to lose a lot of momentum at the top. So it easily could have just been a slight misjudgment, slight taking too much curb maybe, and easily that could have made a difference. So I think some of it as well is just he no longer had the draft from Abe in front perhaps.
Isaac is still keeping up with Marty, but Antoine's still lurking in the background.
Yeah, and Rocker Brown is already over the start-finish line, way off into the distance, with Abe just coming over the start-finish line now, and the rest of the cars coming through the bus stops. So Brown's really putting his place on this race. He's already run 2 of a week so far, so he's looking to make it 3 for the week.
Also seems to have had another little move further back. Marcus Caton now up into 8th position. He started way down in 20th, so he's a really big mover in this race so far. Now we have Paul Nelson coming up onto the back of Jonny Hagner as well. Jonny seems to have just gone backwards all of a sudden. Not sure if he's got some damage maybe, but just seems to be dropping positions like flies. And then we've got Ollie Pacala catching up to Anthony for that final position. Other than that, there's no real big battles on the track at the minute.
No, it'll be interesting to... Sorry, Dean. It'll be interesting to see at the end of this lap the lap time differences between Yuhei Abe and between Marty Patella. So now that Marty Patella's had that clean air for a lap, are they pulling themselves closer to Yuhei Abe? Are they going to be able to drag themselves back to that second position? Looking at it from the outside, I'm not really convinced that there's going to be any difference, if much. So Yuhei Abe comes over line now. What lap is that going to give him?
Isaac Price.
And so Yuhei Abe gets a 49.6 for that lap, and Marty Patella a 49.9. Yeah, so he's not able to really look like he's going to be able to bridge that gap. And Antoine Higlin, just he's still there, still in that little group. He's hanging on to the back of Isaac Price as well.
Yeah, there's a great little battle here actually, right at the back again, like I said. Jonny Hagler and Paul Nelson. Paul was having a little look up the inside into the bus stop, but he thought better of it. Just going through turn 1 now. Paul is a regular driver in this car, he just doesn't seem to do much practice in it.
Yeah, we know he focuses mostly, I think, on the Star Mazda, doesn't he? And perhaps is testing water a little bit in the F1 car for future seasons, maybe. But it looks like he's got a good runner here, coming towards Lake Coombe, goes to the inside. Jonny Hagler just sits in the centre of the track, gives him a little bit of space, but Paul Nelson just thinks better of it and just decides to back out and wait for a cleaner opportunity on another lap. So he hadn't quite got, a nose in front cleanly, and yeah, just caution was perhaps the wiser option on that one. So otherwise, I think we are really finding that these top 5-6 cars now, like you had suggested a few laps ago, Dean, have really spread themselves out now. So UARB's got a good couple of second gap over Marty Patella. Isaac Price is second and a half, so further back, with then Anton Higlin again, just hanging back that a little bit further. But just keeping his nose clean, keeping it tidy. He needs a good points finish for the week to try and improve his chances for getting in the Pro Series.
Just looking at the gap between Rocker Barone and Yuhu Abe, it near enough is the full length of the Camel Straight that he's ahead. And we know Yuhu isn't one of the slow guys in this car. He can put his foot down when he needs to.
Yeah, I mean he's currently second position in the overall standings for the race to Pro. So yeah, that's really just a dominant performance at the moment from Barone. I mean some of that gap is from incidents behind and people having to check up and get through it. But nonetheless, what lap time have we got? 49.6 on the last lap for Barone, and actually a similar lap for Juha Arbe, and then 49.5 for Arbe on the last lap.
In fact, quite a similar lap for Marty Patella as well, who's in third.
Yeah, so last 3 laps running, Juha Arbe has been slightly quicker every lap than Rocker Barone. So, Barone no doubt is just keeping it steady, being sure of it, making sure he's not going to make any silly little mistakes, but he's not streaking away any further.
In fact, Rocker Barone is now coming up to lap Ollie Picard. Who'd have thought we'd have seen that one?
So it's a real shame this season we've not really had our pit stops in this series to help spice up a couple of these races. We've had a couple of great races this year, but we have found we've gone through these stages where it's just all quietened up and so everybody's strung out. With that little bit of variety and strategy again, if iRacing puts in just a few extra laps into these races, if nothing else, then that hopefully will create a bit more variety that we've seen previously.
Just as you were saying that, Lee, we are just flicking back through the standings again, and Paul Nelson and Johnny Hagler were side by side coming over the start-finish. Paul has got the pass done.
Yeah, Johnny Hagner's coming back at him, so Paul Nelson stays defensive early, coming towards Lecombe. Johnny Hagner darts out. He's not quite alongside yet. Is he going to go for it? He does. Paul Nelson takes quite a cautious braking into there. And Johnny Hagner manages to go straight around the outside of him into Lecombe. Pretty impressive. Looks like Paul Nelson's got a bit of front wing damage there as well, actually. So perhaps that's hindering a fair bit. His right front wing is bent up at a fair old angle. So that's, especially in the braking zones, that's certainly not going to help.
I thought maybe these two guys have come together because Paul's front's bent and it looks like Johnny's rear's a bit bent as well, so maybe these two guys had a bit of a coming together. I do believe we're going to get an onboard lap now. Let's just follow this little battle with Paul Nelson. Take us through this one, Lee.
Yeah, so they come down into La Source now, hard on the brakes, take that curb on the inside. Johnny Hagner takes quite a different line coming out the corner there to Paul Nelson. Now they're going to be heading up that run up Eau Rouge, so completely flat all the way, cut that first curb, last curb as well. You have to really get right the way across the curb on the outside there. Johnny Hagner goes defensive, Paul Nelson looking to come around the outside. They're side by side as they come up to Les Combes. Let's see if Nelson's going to be brave this time on the brakes. He does, he's got the position made, cuts both the curbs on each side. You've got to balance the throttle coming now through this right-hander down into the hairpin. Hard braking but downhill, so it's tricky. You can really carry a fair bit of momentum coming in, still slowing halfway around the corner and then getting on the power driving out. Use the curb on the right and just touch that curb on the left as well. Plenty of runoff on the side. And now they're coming up through Pouhon. Almost flat, just probably down a gear at this stage in the race. And then just plant the throttle all the way rest of the way round the corner. Now we've got a little chicane, a right then left, so just under the bridge, hard on the brake, down a couple of gears, hold that tight line. You want as good an exit as you can coming out this second corner now. And now we're downhill into the right-hander before the final straight. So run over that outside curb, just completely flat now all the way down. And we're just waiting now to finally get to the bus stop. So slight kinks of the straight. And then we've got this fast left-hander now where we saw, even in the Castrolado, have their little incident earlier on, completely flat still. And it's all about picking your braking point now for the bus stop. Looks like Paul Nelson's had to be defensive there from Johnny Hagner behind. You can see him in the centre of the track. Cut the curb on each side, get on the power as hard and as early as straight as you can, as they head now back into turn one. And let's see where Johnny Hagner's in relation to Paul Nelson, because he was certainly defensive going into the bus stop there. Yeah, so Johnny Hagner is still very, very close behind the whole time. So let's see now if they're going to be able to get a run as they come up Eau Rouge and back towards Les Combes again.
Yeah, this does seem to be the best battle on the track. Everyone else does seem to have strung out a little bit.
Yeah, so Paul Nelson stays defensive, just hanging to the centre of the track, but actually he's decided that Johnny's too far back and he's not going to worry about him. But Johnny still goes to the inside. But again, good late braking from Paul Nelson that time. Holds the position, but Johnny gets a good run coming through the corner. Oh! Paul Nelson just loses the rear a little bit. So that was just where on the onboard lap a minute ago I was saying you just got to be balanced on that throttle as you come through, and it's so easy just to have the rear step out from you on a spit you to the left there, and you can easily get thrown out to the wall. So Paul did well and was lucky to be able to keep that all together there and not end up in the barriers, and he needs to do it all again, needs to chase back down Johnny again.
Yeah, we've seen he has got the pace to do it as well.
Right, so now that we started lap 15, let's have a quick look at our current running order. So we know Roca Barone streaking away in the first position, as he's been through pretty much the whole race, apart from when Juha Arbe in second briefly got in front. So yeah, Juha Arbe is currently in second, Marty Patella in third, Isaac Price dropped quite a way back from Marty Patella now in fourth, with Antoine Higlin still just a second and a half or so behind in fifth. Jonas Nikarinen in 6th, Jan Zalowski in 7th, then we have Marcus Caton still in 8th, with Jorge Martinez in 9th, and rounding up the top 10 still is Mark Ursel. So already then, it looks like Paul Nelson's managed to close back up on Johnny Hagner, so if he can get that move again and just hang on for a lap or so, you would think that Paul Nelson should be able to break away. Oh, but as I say that, he loses the rear going into turn 1 into the source and manages to gather it back up again. Didn't lose too much time, just half a second or so perhaps.
It does mean that this lap he will have to be chasing again though, rather than putting pressure on.
Yeah, and it's always nicer to have a car in front and a car behind, of course, so it's going to be, you know, Johnny Hagner's going to be keeping an eye on his mirrors, seeing how much he's closing. So yeah, really, this is where our focus is between 13th and 14th still. It's the only battle currently on the track. Both damaged cars, we think, both struggling, limping around a little bit. But luckily, found themselves both on the same point of track to give us a bit of entertainment, something to watch. As I said, we're on lap 15, 16 at the minute, so we've still got another 9-10 laps to go. You were saying at the beginning of the race, Dean, about missing a few faces from the field. So who are we missing? I mean, Alex Simpson, Probably Jorn Jens as well. He's not in this top split either. Those are probably the two names that instantly jump out at me as perhaps not having been in this strength of field, but perhaps in most of the others that we've seen.
Yeah, I think Jorn Jens was actually in the Spectator, so he's still here.
Paul Nelson back in front of Jonny Hagner, sorry. So as they come out onto that back straight, he managed to get a great drive coming out of that final corner. Jonny Hagner's going to try and come back at him now at the bus stop. Paul Nelson goes defensive. Jonny Hagner just loses a rear a little bit, but does well to gather it back up. Doesn't really lose much time, if any, and keeps himself in the battle. But yeah, braked as late, as deep as he dared, and it was just a fraction too much. So let's see now if, well, from our point of view, hopefully not. Oh, there we go. He's going to run wide. That's going to keep the action drawn in. I was just about to say, let's see if Paul Nelson can streak away now, but that's helped Jonny Hagner to stay right in the toe now as they come up through Eau Rouge, completely flat still, up over the crest. And now Paul Nelson's going to have to stay defensive. Jonny Hagner's got a great run on him. He's going to be up alongside as they come into Lecum again. And let's see how it turns out this time. Jonny Hagner looking to go up the outside. He is just in front, got a nose in front again. Paul Nelson late and deep on the brakes, side by side as they turn in. Still side by side. Paul Nelson again just does the sensible thing and relinquishes a little bit. But even so, Jonny Hagner struggling with the rear of that car now. Perhaps that slight damage that you pointed out earlier. And only just managed to hang on to it through the chicane.
Yeah, it just looked like Paul lost the rear a little bit on the turn back in. But yeah, some great action between these two guys. Although it is for 14th and 15th. Still going hammer and tongue. 15th. Sorry, 13th and 14th, sorry. Also, it does look like Marty Patel is starting to pull a little bit on Yahoo. I'm just looking back. Looks like Isaac is having a little bit of a blink. And Anton's right on the back of him. So Anton's caught up to Isaac Price. Isaac has had a bit of a moment.
Yeah, now that they're coming up to this lapped car as well, coming past Anthony Kopek, that could just create a little bit of an opportunity for Anton if Isaac Price just gets caught a little bit, but Anthony does well, finds a great spot just to drop back and let the guys streak by, so that didn't affect anybody at all. But yeah, Anton Heggelin right within a second now, so he's going to start to feel more of an effect of the draft as they come down the two main straights. Let's see if he can claw up to the back of Isaac and pressure him into a little bit of a mistake. Of course, we saw last week that Isaac Price just succumbed, I seem to remember, from pressure from Ollie Picard behind after doing so well for most of the race. So let's see if he can hang on this time.
Yeah, that was last week at Sebring. Got a wheel up on the curb and spun the rears, if I remember. He seems to be doing well this week. Maybe he's learnt from that.
So meanwhile, Paul Nelson still behind Jonny Hagner, still able to close each time, and it's just once he can make a move, he needs to make sure it sticks this time, make sure he doesn't lose out again and lose the hard work that he's managed to put on him. So got a great run coming out of the final corner onto the back straight now. I think he's going to be closing on Jonny Hagner all the way up to the bus stop. Let's see how early he moves out, goes to the left quite early, and he's already clean by. Jonny Hagner has to slot him behind. Let's see if Jonny tries to come back at him on the bus stop now. So Paul Nelson stays close to the left of the track, close to his right. Jonny Hagner tries to go around the outside again, does a better job on not losing the rear, but it wasn't good enough. Paul Nelson though runs a little bit wide coming through the second half of the bus stop. Jonny Hagner's going to get a much better run at him now coming into La Source. Paul Nelson stays defensive again. Jonny Hagner's going to try and go around the outside again, but he tries to cut back. He's going to brake quite early, try and get as good an exit as he can, and it's worked for him. Paul Nelson not a great exit out the corner, so Jonny Hagner's going to be all over the back of him. I get the impression he just held back there waiting for until they get through Eau Rouge, and then try and make the move after that. Very different line coming out the top of Eau Rouge there, and Jonny Hagner's already up alongside as they come back into Lecum. So, how many times has this been now? 5, 6 times? Let's see how it pans out this time. Jonny Hagner on the outside again, Paul Nelson on the inside. Paul Nelson breaks deep and late. Jonny Hagner tries to stick to the outside line, but doesn't quite manage to make it stick. Paul Nelson fairly clean through the rest of the corner. Touch wide on the very final exit, but manages to keep it together. Jonny Hagner just trying to distract him there as they come into the hairpin. So, nice clean racing again. These guys are doing a good job of racing close, but not getting too tangled up with each other. Let's see if Paul Nelson can finally now string a couple of laps together and break away.
Yeah, now he's staying in front coming down Calvin Straight. I think he's got a good chance of pulling away.
Yeah, meanwhile, Isaac Price has just held or just increased that gap slightly to Antoine Higelin, so we'll keep an eye on it, but nothing really happening there yet. Last lap was a 49.8 for Antoine and a 49.4 for Isaac Price, so yeah, just under 4 tenths quicker for Isaac on that last lap.
Yanni's a little bit too far back to have a look at the inside at the bus stop, but he goes very deep on the brakes. He's caught him up a heck of a lot, actually. So maybe that's why Paul's just struggling a little bit into the bus stop. Here we go again.
Yeah, Johnny's done well to bridge that gap again and close up. So I think you're right. We're going to have same order of business again.
Ding ding, round 6.
So again, much faster coming out the top of Eau Rouge there for Jonny Hagner. Nelson goes relatively defensive, left a little bit of space on the right if Jonny Hagner wants to go for it, but he goes back round the outside again. And let's keep it clean again, guys. You've done a great job so far. Jonny Hagner just doesn't quite keep the momentum, drops back again. It's tough to go around the outside there without risking a collision. So again, nice and clean from Servant, but as they were, we'll wait for the next lap.
So in your experience, Lee, would you think it's easier to follow or here or lead?
Always easier to follow, really. You know, certainly for a little bit wide for Paul Nelson there coming for Pujon, but keeps it together. It's always easier to really have a car to chase and to follow and not have someone behind you to distract. Of course, as you go higher up the ladder and you start looking at the World Championship drivers, and of course they're able to deal with it much better and be affected by it less. But a circuit like this as well, where it's so fast, you're going to miss a little bit of downforce through all the high-speed corners, like Pujon, for instance. But really, this circuit allows you to make up for it by getting that draft, getting that toe down the main straights. So Paul Nelson needs to get a good exit coming out of the bus stop this time to not allow Jonny Hagner to close too much, and as I say, loses a rear, so that's going to allow Jonny Hagner then to be right back to where we are as normal, very, very close behind him as they head up to Eau Rouge in a few moments. And much quicker through La Source there was Jonny Hagner, especially through the apex, so again, he's going to be right with him. Right, so very, very wide coming out of Eau Rouge for Jonny Hagner, and ends up right over the curb. Jonny Hagner goes left, Paul Nelson goes right as they come up to Lecombe, side by side again, completely alongside each other. Jonny Hagner takes a little bit of a tighter line a bit earlier this time, but still can't make that outside line work. So yeah, it's good defensive driving each and every lap by Paul Nelson. He's got that breaking point sus now after we saw him being a bit cautious with it early in the race, and he's really not allowing Jonny Hagner much of a sniff, even with the errors that Paul Nelson's making elsewhere in the lap, to be fair.
Ooh, kicking up some dust, Paul Nelson.
We've got a potential battle to keep an eye on for the next few laps between 6th and 7th, which is Eunice Nickerin and between Jan Zalowski. They're within a second or so of each other, so we'll see how that develops for the next little while. Antoine Higelin pretty much in the same position behind Isaac Price, just sitting that second and a half back or so. He looks pretty comfortable. I don't think he's going to risk anything. He just wants to bring it home, get a reasonable amount of points, I think. Looks like Paul Nelson's managed to get a little bit of a gap now on Jonny Hagner coming through the second half of the lap. So again, all he needs is a nice clean bus stop and not allow Jonny that opportunity next time round. So So let's see how he gets out on the power this time. So he's got a little bit of a wide line coming through there. He doesn't quite get that line right in the middle of a chicane, I think, so that doesn't allow him to get on the power quite as well coming over the start-finish line, but it was reasonable. So let's see how he does through the source as well. Just loses the rear a touch, maybe coming through the apex, certainly on the exit. Both of them spinning the rears on the exit. Johnny Hogner is going to be right back there again, I think.
Maybe a little bit too far back this time, though. Definitely seen him closer than this.
Yeah, it looks like perhaps Paul Nelson's just managed to break that routine, even with a slight mistake. So let's see how he manages to keep it together for the next lap. Right, well, we're laps are ticking away, so we're on lap 21 now, so just 3-4 laps to go. So Rocco Barone still cruising around quite happily in first position, it seems. Currently with a 6-second gap to Juha Arbe, which is what it's been really for the majority of the second half of this race. Jan Zalowski is continuing just to close a little bit on Jonas Nikarin, so in the next couple of laps, hopefully. And just as I said that, Nikarin runs very, very wide into La Source. Jan Zalowski dives up the inside, he's got the position done already, so that didn't take very long. So Jan Zalowski up into 6th, Nikarinen into 7th. Let's see how Nikarinen can get through a Rouge, get that toe that we've been seeing up to Leicum, so he's following very, very closely. Zalowski has to stay defensive, and this seems like Paul Nelson and Johnny Hagner all over again. So let's see if they can keep it clean as well. We've been seeing how it's done. So Jan Zalowski holds that inside line, Nikarinen tries to turn in, but there was a car in the way and has to back out of it. So Jan Zalowski managed to hold on to that position for 6th for now.
Yeah, got Johnny Hagner all over the back of Paul Nelson coming into the bus stop. Look to the outside. Paul still holds position. Much better on the power this time from Paul.
Yeah, and Anton Higgins dropped a fair way back from Isaac Price now, so he's looking pretty settled and comfortable in that 5th position.
And here we go again, Yanni right on the back of Paul, coming down Camel Straight. Looks to the outside.
Yeah, going to keep it clean again, so just a touch further in front this time. Might just be able to hang on. Yeah, Paul Nelson feels the need to just give him the space. Couldn't quite take the apex to the next corner. Johnny Hagner's going to get a great run now into the hairpin. Going to go up the inside, you can be hard on the brakes and brake deep and late. Paul Nelson hangs onto the outside line, but Johnny Hagen's going to get a good drive coming out of that corner. And struggling getting on the power there for Paul Nelson.
Lift that right foot, Paul, lift it.
So you're in first gear coming around that hairpin. You want a short shift really into second, and especially when you've got that car in front of you chasing, it's so easy just to be a touch too eager. And again, you did well just to keep out of the barriers.
Yeah, and up at the front again. Got pretty much the same thing happening. Eunice and Jan.
Yeah, so Eunice holds quite tight, quite late. Doesn't go very wide until the last moment. But again, doesn't really feel that he's able to take that outside line. So Zalowski ends up comfortably holding that position. But Nikarinen just comes back at him now towards the hairpin. Is he going to dive up the inside? He's thinking about it. He looks at it side by side as they come in. Oh, so close to the back of Zalowski there as they go through the apex, but it all just about stay clean and tidy.
This is another little battle. Let's just have a look, see how Paul's getting on. In fact, Paul's lost it again to Yanni. Not sure exactly where that happened. Let's just have a quick look.
Yeah, very close still between Nikarinen and Jan Zalowski as they come up over the start-finish line again. So Nikarinen just needs to get a clean turn 1, and surely then he's going to be in that draft coming down Camel Straight again. So it looks pretty tidy from the both of them. So Nikarinen should get a good drive coming out of that corner. Car squirming underneath him though. And again, well, he's maybe dropped a little way back, but I think he's going to be there and thereabouts by the end of the straight. So let's see if Jan Zalowski feels the need to go defensive. He does. He stays to the right quite early. Eunice closing the whole time, but not quite enough to make a challenge.
Yeah, these guys look to have the same length of gear as Jonas was very sideways. Just manages to hang on and doesn't lose much time. So this does seem to be the one of the battles. As well as Paul Nelson and Johnny Hagner still.
As Rocco Brown crosses the start, as Rocco Brown crosses the start-finish line to start his very final lap, so he's got 7 kilometers to go to get his 3rd win from the week.
Yeah, it does look like Paul's lost it a little bit. He just doesn't seem to have the pace anymore, does Paul? Maybe his fronts have gone.
Yeah, still very, very close between Zalowski and Nukarunen as they cross over the start-finish line. So again, they both need a good turn 1 to give themselves the best chance in down the long straight. Looks like it was better, perhaps, on the exit for Zalowski, just gaining and pulling away a little bit. But Eunice is closer than he was in the previous lap, so I think we're going to see him side by side coming up into Lecumbe. So again, Zalowski is going to have to stay defensive. Nukarunen closing the whole way. He's perhaps not quite going to get there. Still, Zalowski stays defensive though. Nukarunen almost comes up along the side. Brakes as hard and as deep as late as they can. But they both keep it tidy. Oh, just a little bit wide in the second section there for Zalowski. So Nukarunen almost goes into a vacuum, loses a bit of momentum. But they both keep it under control again. And oh, contact! That's a shame. Nukarunen and more contact. They're both going to end up in the barriers if they're not careful. And what did I say? There we go. Marcus Caton comes to a complete halt, trying to avoid the 2 of them. I think they're just gonna limp round for the rest of the lap, but that was a shame. Right, Rocco Brown into the bus stop, completing his very final lap. No other cars really in sight. That's win number 3 for Rocco Brown from Spa-Francorchamps. Great result. Once see a bit of carnage happen behind him, he was off and away. Juha Arbe in 2nd, Marty Patella in 3rd. Isaac Price just coming into the bus stop now, nice and clean through, and that'll be a 4th position for him. There we go, 4th position then for Isaac Price. Anton Higlin with a nice clean result for him, 5th place. He'll be happy with that. That should be a good clump of points, I would imagine. And we've got a bit of a battle still happening between Eunice Nukarunen and Marcus Caton. So Marcus Caton is just behind at the moment. Let's see how this turns out to head into the bus stop. So Eunice holds that defensive line. All 3 cars side by side practically coming into the bus stop. Looks like they're just going to get through cleanly. So Marcus Caton just has Montanez coming up the inside of him there. But Nukarunen comes through for that 1st position of that little group. With then Marcus Caton behind, Joey Montanez, and then Mark Ursel. So
yeah, we've still got this battle here for 13-14. Paul Nelson throwing everything at him. Side by side, coming all the way down Lecumbe. Camel Straight, sorry. On through.
Yeah, and just a little bit wide then for Paul Nelson, I think, onto that final straight. So he's going to struggle to close onto the bus stop. Yeah, but he is. He's going to be right there. He's going to be pushing up to get alongside as they come into the bus stop. So here we go, right on the gearbox.
Goes to the outside.
Has to stay defensive, of course. How brave they're going to be on the brakes. Paul Nelson is brave, turns in, or just about gives each other space. Hugner's going to get a much better exit. That's a shame. What a great battle that was between the 2 of them all race long.
Paul's
Very fair.
Plenty of respect there actually as well.
By Paul Nelson.
The position back.
He allows them back. That was good. So hey ho, that was say great racing between the 2 of them all race long, and at least the one contact they had, well, it didn't affect either of their positions. So I'm sure they can both cope with that. That was a shame, but yeah, great race. It all fizzled out rather in the middle of the race, but just while 2 laps on the end there, it got a bit interesting then.
In fact, was that Jan? I saw just behind those two.
Yeah, it must have been him limping around from his contact that he had with Eunice earlier on. So it
finished
looks like he
14th.
came off. He came off quite a lot worse than Eunice. He managed to hold on, in fact, to that 6th position. So he didn't actually lose a place at all there. Which I was quite surprised by because there was a fair old hit between them. So yeah, interesting racing places. Frankly, I was expecting a real classic there from Spa, and after the first 5 laps or so, I was really thinking we were going to see it. It almost reminded me of the GP260 races of everyone just towing each other around. But really, once we had that incident between Riccardo Castrolado and Timo Evening, it just blew everyone else apart a little bit, unfortunately, and really quietened down. So I think I pretty much went through the results when we went over line, didn't I? But let's just make sure we know exactly as it finished. Make sure I didn't get muddled up with that changes in the last lap. Rocker Brown got that win, as we said, 3rd of the week. Juha Arbe in 2nd, Martin Patella 3rd, Isaac Price was 4th, Antoine Higelin in 5th, Eunice Nukarinen did manage to hold on to that 6th position, finishing just ahead of Marcus Caton with Jorge Martinez behind. Mark Ursel came 9th, Arlene Westrom 10th, Paolo Curso 11th, didn't really see anything of them two all race. Joni Hagner in 12th, Paul Nelson 13th, and the last of the lead lap runners was Jan Zalewski, with Anthony Kopek and Olli Pikala both a lap behind. Everyone else was out relatively early on, 22 laps or more.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the tables to update. It does usually take its time.
Yeah, and then it normally gets muddled for a moment as well when it thinks that some people have done 9 weeks and that sort of stuff as well, so it'll probably take a little bit of time. Whilst we're waiting, I think we've got Marty Pasella in the interview channel ready to get dragged up. Good evening, Marty. Podium result, you've got to be happy with that.
Well, not really. I was expecting to be 2nd, well, hoping to be, but, well, it's racing.
Okay, so rather subdued then for your 3rd place finish. I mean, you were stuck behind Isaac Price for the vast majority of the race, finally managed to get by. I guess you managed to close an Arbe a little bit after that, but not by a huge amount.
No, not really. I mean, Abe got away pretty far